It's week one of Kings College football 2014, and we are joined by fifth-year head coach Jeff Knarr. Coach, thanks for being with us again this year.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, after 3 weeks of practice, your team opens up on Saturday with a 1 p.m. road game at Moravian College in Bethlehem. Talk a little bit about how training camp went and what you were able to learn about your team.
We thought camp went well. We were able to avoid injuries where guys were going to miss a significant amount of time, and we got to get some of the younger guys integrated into our program and our system to be able to provide the depth needed to play the schedule that we had. And we saw the older guys we saw was continuity and retention of our system and our schemes from the spring and the previous season, and be able to build on that, so things are able to go quicker and faster and do more kind of in all three phases. And we saw some good young kids be able to come in and prepared well and trained well to give us quality depth and number wise to make sure we can put the best guys on the field for us.
Well, let's jump right into talking about the team this year. Offensively, there's a good mix of returning players back, led by the senior trio of quarterback Tyler Hartranft, tailback Kyle McGrath, and preseason All-American receiver Dan Kempa.
Yeah, those three, I mean, we're counting on them. They seem like they've been here forever. They've been on the field a lot, and then what we've seen each year is they've gotten better. Tyler, as a sophomore, held on the ball a little too long. We threw too many interceptions last year. I mean, the interceptions were way down, touchdowns were up, yards were up, decisions were much better, and now we're just looking for, again, that natural growth as a senior from that standpoint. And then Kyle, he's been a workhorse. He's tough. He played through a ton of injuries last year and still played, at a high level, when he was all conference as a sophomore. And looking for him to carry the load, running the football from there. And then Dan is just, again, had gotten better every year, on the field as a freshman a little bit, sophomore year, better and better every game, has a breakout at the end of the year, has a tremendous junior season, and just looking to continue to build on that in his senior year. So all three of them have had great camps, and just looking to them to improve and build on the success they had last year.
A couple of other skilled position players to talk about on offense are junior running back Patrick Robinson and the sophomore tight end pair of Brian Atkinson and Jay Thomas.
Yeah, with Pat, I mean, he's similar to Kyle. He's a workhorse, kind of a back, a physical kid, athletic, did good things for us in the pass game as well as running the ball. So, he's a good complement to Kyle, and then to be on the field and do, good things in the pass and run game. And then Jay, Thomas and Brian, two good young tight ends that we needed last year to play as freshmen, and they both, evolved from there. Jay's a, solid, steady, consistent, tight end in the run game and can run the, good tight end routes, great hands, gets open from there. And Brian's a good complement. I mean, he's battled some injuries, a little bit more, healthier this year, and and a little more athletic in the pass game. He's got tremendous hands, and he's made some strides in his blocking as well. So we're hoping to be able to use both of them, in certain situations.
After Kempa, the other wide receiver slots are open up for grabs, and so far it looks like senior Antoine Basquet and Vince Albano, along with a freshman pair of Tyler Maroney and Marquise Miller, are also expected to factor in.
Yeah, those four guys, kind of are the guys right now that have risen up to the top a little bit from there. And Antoine had a great spring. He's been a big special teams guy up until that point, and in the springtime things kind of clicked and did a great job for us. And we're hoping he can rise up and be the the two next to Dan. And then Vin is a slot guy and had a nice role, and he's developed and evolved into that role. And had huge games at the end of the year, and he's had a great spring and a good preseason. And two good freshmen. Tyler Maroney is a tall receiver that runs really good routes and can go up and catch the football. Marcus Miller is a little guy with speed, again, who runs precise routes and has great hands. And those four have done a good job, and we need to develop those guys and get them on the field, because again, people are going to know where Dan is, and then we got to have the guys be able to take the the pressure off and put defenses in positions where they can't put everybody on Dan, because then they're going to get hurt by these other guys. And so far, we've liked what we've seen with these four.
On the offensive line, junior center Mark Vetterline enters his third year as a starter, while senior tackle Jim Skrulecki is also a returning starter. Then we have junior Evan Foster and sophomore Jake Dever. They've also had some starting experience, and it looks like sophomore guard Andrew Zub is going to make his debut as a starter.
Yeah, as they get through their Vetterline's been rock solid for us at center. Makes all our calls. Knows our offense. Knows defenses from that standpoint. It's tough, so he's kind of been the the center point from that standpoint. And then from the guards, working out. Jake Devers, a kid, he's kind of a jack of all trades guy. He can play guard. He helps no center. Has done some stuff there, and we're also working on that tackle, and he's looked pretty good in all three of those positions from there. And then Big Jim's gotten improved every year he's been here. We're looking for him to have a solid senior season. And Andrew Zub was a defensive lineman that we moved over to the O-line in the spring. Like his physicality, and as his knowledge is getting better, his plays improved tremendously as well.
So overall, how do you feel the offense has come together as a unit so far?
We look pretty good. We're a team that wants to be balanced, running and throwing the ball, and we've been able to have success, in camp and in our scrimmage, with throwing the ball and running the ball. Just kind of striving to be consistent as you put practices behind you and build on those. You want to become more and more consistent. And we have guys that enough guys have been in the program, know what we're about, know what we want to do things on offensively. So we're looking to go out there on Saturday and put a consistent effort and be balanced in running and throwing the ball.
Coach, the Kings' defense is similar to the offense in that there are several returnees back. There are also some spots where younger players will have to step in and fill roles. So let's start off with the biggest question mark, the defensive line. You lost 2 of your 3 starters to graduation, including Mr. Touchdown Ron Garrett. You have Peter Santorelli back as a senior holdover. So talk about the D-line and who Kings fans can expect to see.
Yeah, there's no Ronnie, running around making plays. That he did last year was a special year for him. But Pete's a guy. He's got great leadership. Does a great job. As a leadership as a position group. He's one of our captains. From there, and he's going to be play some nose and also maybe play some DN from that deal to get him on the field more. As he's the veteran presence. And then you have Gary Polson and Joe Cole are 2, a senior and a junior. Who've been in the rotation and have been on the field for us, and their roles need to expand. And Mike Martinez, a junior who's filled out his frame and worked really hard in the spring, and he's in the mix to kind of fill the other roles from that deal. So it's kind of by committee from that aspect. And then some young freshmen, Brendan Carlin's a defensive lineman who's done some good things there. And at the nose guard spot, Brian Hicks is a sophomore who played a little bit towards the end of last year, and he's coming along, and we need to get him on the field. And then we have Bobby Shaw. He's a freshman to help spell some time at the nose guard position. So they're kind of the guys in there. It's going to be more of a rotation, I think, in the beginning to find out who has the mix and the chemistry and who can hold up and play. As we lost guys, Ronnie and Billy, they were guys that could hold up and be on the field down after down, and we're not there yet. So we have the guys. We have a bunch of them, and we're going to play them all, so we can stay fresh and be as explosive as we need to from a D-line point of view.
Coach, the linebacker core will be critical considering the youth of the defensive line, and there are some veteran faces back with the ability to get the job done. We have senior Nick Kyla and sophomore Bobby Russell will hold down the inside slots, while juniors Monroe Sherman and James Burke will handle the outside chores.
Yeah, inside, Nick Kyla, we felt last year, he burst onto the scene and just had a tremendous season, and you can see him getting better week in and week out. And it kind of felt that he played, at an all-league, caliber level. And he worked out hard in the off-season, had a great spring, voted as one of our captains, and he's kind of a heart and soul, of our defense, and a very solid player. And Bobby Russell, had a great freshman season, was our special teams MVP, was playing at linebacker, towards the end of the year and doing really good things, and now just making that next, progression as an every game, every down guy on the inside. And then the outside, Monroe's a guy that can run. He's athletic. Can make plays off the edge, and we're hoping that he can evolve into that role and do a solid job. And then James was an inside guy, but he has the athleticism to play on the outside, and then we're like what he's seeing from there. And then we have a young guy, Hassan Maxwell, who's kind of our third outside linebacker guy, who's kind of in the mix, and he's very explosive and powerful, and making plays coming off the edge as well.
King's secondary also has a solid group of returnees led by senior safety Chris Matthews, junior safety Anthony Martuccio, and junior cornerback Justin Burke. Also returning is junior cornerback Tyler Cruz, who has started each of the past 2 years but had his seasons cut short by injuries both seasons. Yeah,
our secondary is very, very veteran, but it has especially at the corner spots, guys have missed time because of injuries. But we feel when Cruz is healthy, and then with Justin Burke moving over last year from receiver to corner, early in the year because of the injuries we've had, and he just got better and better at corner. But with Cruz and Burke, we feel we have two solid corners, top level type corners, in the conference. And then Tyler Majezik is another good solid corner who's last year his season got cut short from an injury. He's worked tremendously hard to to get back in the mix and will be as our third corner guy. Our safeties, we've had a little more consistency and avoid the injury bug with those two guys, and that Matthews and Martuccio were able to be out there every game last year, and you just saw them get better. And Chris will be entering his third year back there, and plays he didn't make as a sophomore, he was making as a junior, and again, and still expect him to continue to make plays, and he has so far in camp. Things that he didn't do last year, he was doing this year. And Martuccio, he's one of our strongest, most athletic kids, in our testing and everything, and then his play has gotten a lot better in camp from last year to this year, and expecting a great junior season for him.
As we all know, you can't win without a solid kicking game, so let's talk about what we have with the Monarchs this year. Look like stepping into the starting role, the kicker position is going to be Mikhail Kanasevich, and we also have Eric Henke returning as punter.
Yeah, Mikhail, he did a great job kicking off for us last year, and his PAT field goals, his ball striking was a little off, but he's worked tremendously hard of it. He takes kicking very seriously. He's very prideful, about that. He relates well to our kids. Our kids, love him and work hard for him, on the kickoff team. So he's done a tremendous job with that, and then he's been more consistent with his PAT and field goals, and he's got a strong leg, and he's been very consistent so far in camp. And then Eric, again, he's got a strong leg and a great demeanor for a punter. He did a phenomenal job with hang time last year and creating fair catches and down the ball in the 20. And a year in the weight room, we're hoping he's even be more powerful and add some more distance to his punts, which will increase our net punting. We're very happy with our kicking and punting situation.
Well, let's look ahead to the weekend, Coach. On Saturday, you will have a little blast from the past yourself, as you were extremely familiar with the Moravian program, having coached against them during your time as an assistant at Muhlenberg. What are the trademarks of the Moravian football program?
They're just it's a tough, hard-nosed program. They're fundamentally sound, and then they're physical, and they're tough. They don't beat themselves. They're well coached. They're going to be in the positions they need to be in, and they're going to find ways to be successful from that standpoint. But they're play physical, tough football.
Coach, Moravian lists 17 returning starters. So what do you expect to see from this veteran team on both sides of the ball?
Similar to us. We're kind of both picked this kind of finish the same area in our conferences. We both have a lot of guys coming back, and hoping that they're hoping that they improve and build on the success they had towards the end of the year, just as we're building on the success that we had with a lot of returning guys back, and they have a lot of returning guys, and just when you have returning guys, you expect them to get better from that deal. But watching them on film, they were a couple plays here or there, dictate some of the games that we saw, that would have been wins instead of losses. So I'm sure they're with everyone coming back and understand their system better, they're going to be playing at a higher level to start the season than they did last year. Style-wise, offensively, what do you expect to see? They seem to be more of that no huddle, up tempo deal. They will have a new trigger man at quarterback. I think he may be a better thrower, so maybe I'm a little more balanced with them running and throwing the ball. But their tailback, he's a local kid from the Lehigh Valley, and he was extremely productive. I think he was the first freshman in school history for them to have 1,000 yards rushing. So I think they still want to get him the football. I know they have some explosive playmakers at receiver. So again, if they think their quarterback can throw it, they may be more throw it more. But they're going to be line up and run plays pretty quickly, and make you read a guy and then try to take advantage of over pursuing things. So we got to play good assignment football against their offense.
And what type of style do they play defensively?
Defense. They get in a 3-man front, 4-man front deals. Play coverage. From there, not necessarily a ton of pressure. But they will get after you when they want to. But they again very gap sound, and then they hold up because they're big and strong. And so everyone has their responsibility, and then they do that well because they bring physicality to the defense. They tackle well, they'll hit you, and they have good athletic guys in the secondary corner to cover people. So there's a good solid nucleus for them on defense. I think they returned 10 of 11 on their defense.
Coach, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us, and good luck to you and the Monarchs on Saturday as well as the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.